Hi everybody, it's Rachel here. I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. Um, Welcome to my new subscribers, and as you can see in this video I'm going to do a little bit more Jessie Corley. I've been working all day preparing some bags, so I've made the base of the bags. I have to cut their lining, make their pockets and their handles, and then I can make up the bags, but I'm sick of doing those, so I'd like to just relax for a minute. So as you can see, I went ahead and did this embroidery here. It's not finished, so I'll just go and do a little bit more on there. I have to add all the greenery in the centers of the flowers, and I think that's about it there. And then I might couch something as well. So sorry, just turn my other iPad off. Okay, so I have millions of types of threads. So I might say I'm using DMC 6-strand thread. I also have perle cotton. I have all of these random wools. I also have them in these containers as well, but I don't really, I've got such a mess everywhere, I can't pull them all out. So these are the ones that I bought at that shop that I mentioned in Australia, that is where people go and donate what they're not using anymore. So there's all types of wool in there, and I didn't have enough space in my plastic containers, so I thought they'd be pretty in a jar. Mum always does things like that. She has jars of things everywhere, so I thought that's pretty. And then I just have this little basket here, and they didn't fit in the jar, so now they're in the little basket. And there's all kinds of hand-dyed wools and that sort of thing. And then because I'm a lunatic, when I was in Australia, I seem to, every time I go to Australia, I'll buy a whole lot of something, and this time it would seem to be threads, because I can't get all this sort of thing here, especially where I live. So then when I went to the Sydney quilt show, they had packets of these really cool wools and different types of threads for, I think there were 6 in there for $20 or something. So I bought, and there was a deal for like 3 packets for $50. So I bought those, and I'm just thinking some of these I might use in the Jessie Corley, and I just put them in my IKEA drawers that they have, because I didn't have anywhere to put them on my little things that I make these thread winders. And so that was the only place I could really store them, but it's actually really great. So I might get another one of those and start storing them like that. And then I have these colors as well. I have another drawer, but I don't think I'm going to use those colors, so I left it in the thing. So let's get started. Hope I don't bore. If you don't want to watch this sort of thing, feel free to move along to the next video, because as we know, embroidery is very slow. It's not a fast process. So I have my little needle book here, and I like to use this to thread the wools. I like to use this threader, and I tied it onto the old lace. I created some pockets there, just because otherwise it's the sort of thing that I would lose. And I think I might also use, I love these rubber things. I learned about these when I did my applique course with Yoko Saito. You put them on your finger like that, and they're very soft. They mold into your finger, and they're a needle grabber, so when it's tough to pull something through, they don't slip. You don't have to put as much pressure, so I'll probably leave that on. So let's see what, I don't really have a plan, guys, so could be one of those willy-nilly sort of videos. And I've got my camera at a different angle, so I'm hoping it will be better like this. So I wanted a mid sort of brown, I think this one here, or that one, this one I think, for the center of those flowers. So I'll just in a bit of a tangle. Everything's always in a tangle. I think I might, if I have time after I've done this, I'm going to start working on some journals, but they probably won't be finished until the end of the week, because I can't start one. I'll always do a few when I start. So and as I mentioned yesterday, wanted to use 3 threads. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm nearly out of ephemera to make that again. So let's see how we go here. Don't even really remember what I wanted to do. That's why. So what I did, even though I've got all this work to do, I decided the other day to go on with this the other morning after I had switched off the camera, because if I leave it, if I draw it on and then I leave it and I don't do it straight away, I tend to just forget what I wanted to do, and I lose my kind of, how shall we say, my creative sort of flow and mojo, and then I don't really know what I want to do, and so then I do nothing. So I'm just putting a little just a little row here of just random stitches, really. Oh, it's unthreaded. Isn't that the worst already? So what's everybody doing today? Are you having a great Sunday? It's still very hot here, and I am closed inside and trying not to go outside with the aircon on, and Lulu and Steffi have gone off to have a swim. So I told them that I can't. So anyway, but I'm really thrilled because Steph's on holidays now. So that means I don't have to think about cooking lunch or dinner or anything. That he said he'll do it all. So he's a great cook. His mama taught him. And so that makes me really happy. I don't have to go and do the well, I have to do the basic shopping because he doesn't do that. But I don't have to do any of the, dinner sort of shopping. So that's really exciting. So I'm just putting a few little colonial knots. So you can do colonial knots or French knots. As we know, I like the colonial knots more. I think I'll put 3 or 5. Let's have a look. No, I think I'll put 5 in. 5's uneven numbers are always, I think, are better, because you don't want it to be too matchy-matchy. So it's pretty quick. I'll put one more over there, and that's done. And then I'm going to jump up underneath to this pale one that's up here. Now I won't do all of this section because it'll take forever to do all these details, but I'll just do this part here. And I just made up this embroidery. Okay, put 5 in that one. And another thing you could do is you could also put in, rather than doing them all one colour, you could do them a mix of colours. But I don't want to do that. There's so much work to be done on this that I think you have to sort of decide somewhere. I think I might have to put another one because that's looking a bit square across there. I don't like it, so I need to put another random one in somewhere. Then I don't like it because now there's 6. So maybe I'll have to squeeze one in somewhere else. So there's 7. Yes, where will I put it? Over here. Bring it down into here. Okay, sometimes you just have to keep on going. Even though you had an idea in your head, if you don't like it, you just keep going until you do like it. Yeah, I like that more. Okay, good. So that's done. And then I have one more of those types of flowers on the other side. Okay. Over here. So I'll just do a few in there. I think only 3 in that one because it's small. Okay. So maybe, is this angle better? Maybe, possibly. And also, I think it might be because I'm not crashing into it. So that's that one, two, and 3. So you might see that the colour changes in some of these embroideries here. I was in Sydney, and my mum and years ago, my mum and my sister took us. We went to Balmain, and there's lots of quirky sort of little shops there. Well, there were. I don't know if there still are. And there was this sort of, it was kind of like a gift sort of store, kind of bit of interiors, a bit of gifty sort of things. And then they had in a basket some hand-dyed threads. And so they were quite pretty, so I bought 2 packets of them. I don't know what brand of threads they are, but I'll just show them to you. So these here, that one, I've got quite a few, because I bought 2 packets, of course, just in case. And then I haven't even hardly used them. See, that one's that one there, and then this one is here. And that's very nice. Gives you lots of variation in your colours. I wouldn't know if the colours were colour fast or anything like that. Who knows? So what I need here is, for this one, I wanted some sort of, what do you call it, ochre-y sort of yellow. Maybe that colour, yeah. And I'm just going to do a few little satin stitches there. So this is just a DMC. It might be a Madeira as well, because my aunt, she wrote a couple of books about the art of tassel making. They were the most amazing tassels. Actually, I've got one day I'll show you. And she had all these threads, and she was kind of going through a phase where she's very creative. She was over sort of all of her creative stuff, so she gave me a whole lot of goodies when I visited them in Melbourne, so that was really cool. I always do that. Okay. So I'm just going to put little stitches, I hope you can see because it's only small, next to each other. Might put in another one. Little threads come up, I'll have to trim that off. Okay, and then I'll jump up over here. I won't even bother stopping and starting again. Can you see? I think so. Okay. A few more stitches just to make so it stands out a bit more. And then I've got a little center here I have to do, not too big. Okay. Okay, so that's that done. Now, what colour will I do there? Maybe a pale yellow or an orange. Not that orange, that doesn't go. Maybe this kind of orange, yes. Okay, good. I like it when decisions are snappy. And I'm just going to do in this one a few colonial knots again. So let's just knot. And then I think I'll leave the greenery to do off camera because it'll take too long, and I wanted to do something where I need to couch. So again, I think I'll put 5 in here. Just try to be careful not to put them all in a row, because then otherwise I don't like it. That's better. This literally, I could do a million videos of this, couldn't I? Because it's going to go on forever. And put one more. There. And then, or 5 or 7 in this one because it's bigger. I'm itching to decorate a couple of pages in my planner. That would be fun, but you know, I've got to find the time. But I think I'm plodding along okay for my big craft fair, so that's why I'm just taking out a little bit of time just to do this, because otherwise I think it becomes a little bit, when you're doing a lot of sewing, it becomes a little bit overwhelming and a little bit, kind of makes me feel ill doing too much. So I just have to stop and then take a breather and then get back into it. So I think because I prepared, how many bags did I prepared the base for, I think 7 plus about 15 big bags. So sorry, 8 market bags and I think 7 of the bigger ones that are great for weekend or carrying projects around. Like I always have a big bag that I carry wherever I go in Australia when I'm visiting my brother or go to Melbourne, or I always have this bag that I carry all my threads around and my projects and things. So anyway, so I've started preparing those. As I said, I prepared all the bases, but you know, then you have to prepare all the handles and sew them and measure them and cut them, and it just, when you're making a lot, when you're making a few, it's okay, like you can get them done in a day, but when you're making a whole lot all together, it can become a bit, you sort of start to feel a bit sick about it. So I was going to use this one. I'm going to couch this wool on, and I'm going to use it double so that it's nice and thick. So I'll just get a nice long piece here, and I'll just use my threader, and I have a needle with a bigger eye in it. So I'll just show you how I thread it. I got this at the Cruel Goblin in Sydney. Maybe 2 years ago, I think I got it. So first of all, you slide it into your needle, and then you just hook the thread. I probably won't be able to do it now. Hook the thread there, and then just pull it through and pull your tail through. There we go, did it. Yay. And it's already got a knot in it. Okay. This thread is it's not an Appleton wool, it's a gum nut. and they're lovely. I think it's an Australian brand, and they're hand dyed. So for the couching, you're going to have 2 needles. So this is the first one, and I'm going to, I think I'll couch first this bit here. So I'm going to come up here at the bottom, and I will go down through. This is fairly easy to do. And then I'll just come back up here. No, I'm not. I'm going to go over there because I want to do that bit. So this is what I'm going to do. You don't normally do this. You normally just, if you go, I'll show you another shape afterwards. We'll do this first. And then I'll show you a rounded shape because that's different. So this is just because I've got different areas. So, and that's going to go up there. So what I'll do is I'll just pin this down here, and I think I was going to use, now what colour am I going to use as a contrast? I might use, will I use a green, or will I use, maybe I'll use a dark blue. I think I'd like a dark blue. So I think I might use this one here. So this is a DMC 3768, I think. Sometimes when I do my projects for homespun, because a lot of my threads are really old, sometimes DMC change the name of their thread, or they might discontinue that colour lot, and then they'll bring out a new colour lot that's similar. I think that's what happens. So sometimes homespun contact me and tell me that that colour doesn't exist. And I think I'll use 2 strands. And so anyway, that's what I think the colour is anyway. Or I've labelled them incorrectly, but I don't think so. So let's see here. Oh dear, I can't thread it. Okay, here I go. Done. Oh, you can see the edge of my table, can't you? Can I move you over a bit? That's better. Okay. So what couching, basically all you're doing is whip stitching over the top in a very random way of a thread underneath to hold it down in place. So this is fairly easy because I don't have to hold it, because it's just straight, so I could just go down. Okay, so then I'm ready to do this piece, and I'm just going to go down in there. I won't pull it too tight, and I'll just put that one there, and okay, and now I'm ready. So basically what you do is you hold it with your other hand in place where you want it, and you're just placing stitches over the top, and they can be like going straight or diagonally. So the first one I did was diagonal. The second one is a bit more, it's a bit straighter. It doesn't really matter. It's really just a personal choice. Just creates a nice effect, and it's quite quick as well for covering a large area. Or not. I hope I'm on screen. Yes, it's good. So remember, you need 2 needles, one for your, if you're using a thicker thread underneath, you might only want to use the same thickness as the other one that you're couching it on with, but that's just, you have to decide that. I wanted this stem to be thicker, so I'm using a double wool. Nearly there. See how quick that is. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab this one and I'm going to jump over here. Actually, this is really easy because I can just I can go ahead and put these all in place because it's straight. And I'll show you what I mean when you're doing something like a heart, or I did the bunny. I didn't do that. I had to hold it in place as I went. So I'll show you what I mean. We'll just put these in. I can come back and couch those. I'll finish off that thread, the blue thread, and then I can come back and couch those after. But I'll just show you what I mean with, I've drawn a heart that I want to couch on as well. But you can also, it's really cool because you can use it like Jessie does to also couch like writing words and things like that, which is really cool. Because embroidering them takes forever. I always forget about couching. So I've done enough of that thread. So I'll put that away. At least if I put my threads away as I go, I'm in a much better spot. So let's finish this bit off. And I'll just jump over here and get that one done, and then probably my own screen, yes. Oh, I'll get that one done as well, that's good. Okay, so I'll end that off. Does anybody watch, has anybody ever heard of Jude Hill? Her blog is The Spirit Cloth, and she's amazing. I bought her online course years ago. It was called Whispering Hearts, and I learned so much from her as well because she hand sews everything. She's amazing. I think I'm going to finish this. Sorry guys. I won't do the embroidery bit. That's just going to be satin stitch. One part's going to be green and the other part's going to be a pinky red, I think. Anyway, Jude Hill is also on YouTube, and I don't know if she's under the Spirit Cloth or Jude Hill, and she also does a lot of couching as well. So she's another inspiring person. She uses a lot of her own hand-dyed fabrics. So I often feel like I don't have many hand-dyed fabrics, so I don't feel like I could achieve the look. But I did learn a lot from her, and my mum was here when I bought the course, so she watched it as well. And it just, Mum went from perfect embroidery like stump work and all that sort of stuff to really, I mean, I've shown Mum's work before. It's really amazing, random, uneven sort of thing. I mean, sometimes she still does her very neat embroidery, but she combines it with these new techniques with the cantha stitching or the border stitching, and using fraying sort of fabric and old fabric that's, you know, just using random bits and putting them together sort of thing. So anyway, so that's done. Now I drew a heart up here, just here, and I want to couch that on. And what color do I want? I'm going to use a wool again because it's nice and thick, and I don't want white. I don't want any of those. Maybe, I don't think I want any of these. Oh, maybe this one could be good. This one, that will stand out. So I think I'll use this one. Don't ask me what brand it was. It was in that pack of wools that I bought. They didn't have any brand on them. So let's thread that up. So I need my large eye needle, Am I on screen? Not very well. Here we are. And then just loop that in there. Okay. Oh, come on. And then done. Okay. Right. So it's got a knot in it already. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll come up here where the point is. Right here. Now, let me think. What colour am I going to couch it on with? Let me think. I'm thinking I'm going to couch it on with maybe this one here, and I think, yes, it's becoming very bright, my Jessie Corley. Let me just have a look. Maybe I won't like that. Let's see. Just hold that down there. And I like that. It's quite nice, but it's very bright. It is very bright. Otherwise I've got this. I think this is a DMC one. I think I like that more. Yes, I do. Okay, and I'm going to use 3 strands because I'd like to see it a bit more. You could use 4 strands. You could use the whole 6. Maybe I should use the whole 6. Yes, let's use the whole 6 and see what happens. So I'll just unthread the blue. Put that over there, and let's see if I can thread this. Yep. Did it all go? No, missed one. I could use my threader, but I'm lazy. And then you say that you're lazy, but then it takes you longer if you don't use it, but I didn't anyway. We did it. Okay, so just do my knot. Come on. Come on, come on. Don't want to be here all day. Okay, great. So here I'm going to turn around like this. I'm going to hold this on the orange thread, the wool, I'm going to hold on my drawn line. I'm going to come up underneath. And, oh, why am I already tangled? Got it. Okay. And I'm just going to start. And you can do your stitches closer together, further apart. So I am working through quite a few layers here. So this is great. This is really helpful, and you put less stress on your hands. And as you can see, I'm still struggling using that. Yep, getting it done. So I mustn't, I've drawn over the lace, so I mustn't go in the wrong direction. Jessie uses a lot of red and navy blue, but I can't help myself. I seem to go in with the softer colours. But whilst I love the effect that she creates with it, it's amazing. Really amazing. But then I think if I just do it the same as her, it'll just look like her work, not my work. Okay. Oh, so tough. So this pink fabric, I think I bought a pack from Lulu Retro. I think it came from her, or it came from another lady on Instagram who doesn't seem to be selling on Instagram anymore. She's selling through her Etsy shop. I think I bought a pack from one of the two. Anyway, it's pretty, but it is a horrible fabric to sew with. It's really, really tough. Like it's really hard to pull your needle through and everything. It's awful. So actually you can see I did rows of Cantha stitching there with this gorgeous, let me just show you. I bought it at the Sydney Court Show. There were, I don't know if they were Chinese or Japanese, and they had these beautiful beautiful crocheted scarves and things, and they were linens. I've wound it on that wooden thing, but it was this linen, and it's 4 crochet, but it's 4 ply. It's got 4 threads, and I just separated them, and I think they're great to do stitching with. I think it's beautiful, and it's just this beautiful natural linen thread. I could probably find their business card somewhere if anyone's interested. They only had one of this colour at the fair, and Mum wanted it, so she prepaid it and they sent it to her straight away. So I could may possibly find out their card if anyone's interested, but it's just lovely. But I don't crochet, so I'll use anything for embroidery. Mum got me inspired because Mum's using anything and everything for embroidery, and so I've been really enjoying playing around with it. A little bit of a, there we go, fixed it. So why you can't put your needle through there. Well, you could, but you couldn't pull thread because you don't know how much you need, because we've got to do the shape of the heart. So that's why the other needle just needs to be dangling around, flying around while you're doing this. And see, it's really great to get the shape. Am I on screen? Yes. So we just work our way around like this. And I think I'm going to just do a running stitch all the way in that heart. That's what I'm thinking. Could change my mind, but that's what my thoughts are right now. So I don't know, I know some of you lovely ladies are doing this project, and it can be quite daunting getting started. And I can guarantee that when I was in Australia in June with my mum and my sister, I was so in awe of my sisters and mums, but mum was so in awe with my sisters as well. She stopped, she didn't continue hers, and I told her that she needs to get on with it because it'll be great. She just needs to get more happening, because mum didn't do hers on the piece of fabric provided by Jessie. She's done it bigger, so she'll have a lot more work to do to fill it in. But she wanted a bigger piece that she could use, as something to throw onto the couch or that sort of thing. So anyway, I didn't know where to begin. I just was overwhelmed by it all, and then I just thought, well, sit down and do the embroideries. So I started doing the embroideries, and then Lulu said, oh, I'd like to do some embroidery. So she did a couple of the embroideries, the ones I think I've showed you before. They're here, the swan and the boat. And she just loved it. She couldn't stop embroidering. And so I just started with the embroideries. Then I used Mum's piece that Jessie provided because Mum didn't use it. And I just lay them out and decided where to place them. I took a photograph so I would remember, because you never remember. And then I just pulled out, I always start, when I'm choosing fabrics, I always start with my favourite. I always have one that I have to include, or maybe a couple. So I just started doing that, and I actually pinned them all underneath. I pinned the patches on, and then I started pinning the fabrics. I pinned them everywhere, and then I don't normally tack because it takes too long. Mum tacks everything, but I did this time because there were too many pins everywhere. So I tacked it all. Just very quickly, and then when I did my tacking, this is a good pointer, as you'll notice, I needle turned everything, so I didn't have any raw edge. You could have raw edges, but my sister had needle turned everything, and I really liked how hers looked, so I decided to do that too. So I needle turned it all, and so when I tacked it, like I'd just do a line across there, or a little square in the center, so that way I had space to be able to turn it under around the edges there. And I only needle turned what I could see. So I knew I could see this side, so I needle turned that. I could see that side, and I could see that side, but I couldn't see this side, so I didn't waste my time of needle turning underneath that fabric. The same here, I needle turned this side, and this side. This one, I don't think, I didn't needle turn any of that because it's all under. This one I only needle turned this side here. So I would recommend, if you can cope, putting all your background fabrics on and playing around with them, seeing what you want to layer on top. So I did the background first. It was all on here though. It was all tacked, just like I'd do a cross. I'd do a cross here to hold those in place. But I didn't go near the edges because I knew I had to needle turn them. And so then I lay all my background fabrics, had it all going. And then once I'd done all the needle turning, I then went and put in these pieces that overlay. So these little pieces. I just went and just worked around and put in those pieces. And I may add more, but they were of all the appliquing, they were the last thing. And then maybe bits of lace. So you have to decide if you want your lace to go under or over. Mine seems to be all over, and I may add more lace. I don't know, but that was how I started, and that got me going. And then I've basically looked at it since I returned to Italy, and I hadn't even done anything on it. And then Lisa reminded me about it, and I had totally forgotten about it. So I'm now having to exert myself and think, what will I do on it? And what I'm doing is, I knew I wanted to include a bee. I like this type of bee. So I knew I wanted to include a bee, and I knew I wanted to include these. I saw these on one of a different project of Jessie Corley. So what I've done is I've saved some of her things that I like in Pinterest. I have a Jessie Corley board if anyone wants to go and look at it, and I just look on all different projects that she does and see if there's anything there that inspires me. And then I saw a couched heart, and I thought, oh yeah, well, it is a Jessie Corley project, so we need to put on a couched heart. So anyway, let me finish this one, and then I'll show you what else I want to. So now that I'm down on the straight, I can put. Anyway, I'm gas bagging. I'm here by myself and I'm gas bagging. I mean, if my husband could hear me, he thinks I'm a lunatic. Anyway, I think my mum thinks I'm a bit of a lunatic too. Right, so that's that, and that can be ended off. We don't need that anymore. Oh, I don't want to end it off. I want to make sure I pulled it tight enough. So just leave it. I'll just put my, so you can hear my thought process out loud. So it's so quick. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to canter stitch in, or like lots and lots of rows, like really close together. That's what I'm thinking. Unless something else grabs my attention. Okay, so now I can go and end it all off. Okay, so I'll end off this one first. Yeah, I got to use my new threads. I wish I photographed. I mentioned that I have all this beautiful wool here, because when I first started sewing, I made scarves. I didn't really love making scarves, but you know, my mother-in-law kept buying them, so I kept on making them, and I don't know. They're kind of embarrassing to look at now, but I have all this wool, and so Mum then decided, when I was going out to Australia, that she needed some of my wool. Because she was going to be making a wool blanket inspired by, I think I've told you all this, Segolane, and of course we met her at the Sydney quilt show, and she's amazing and kind and generous, and allowed us to photograph everything, even though I've got both her books and I've had them for quite a few years, and I gifted them to Mum. And anyway, so Mum's been doing all these gorgeous embroidered flowers, and she was inspired by my project that I kind of started, that I haven't finished, another one, where I had cut out flowers from old fabrics and I was embroidering them. I have to go on with that as well. So look, there's the heart. I might put another one of those somewhere. So anyway, let's talk about that first. So she asked Lulu, Sass and I to embroider some flowers or something to put on her quilt that she's making, her throw, and I did, but I didn't photograph it. Such a ning-nong. But yeah, so, and I did use a lot of, well, my point is I used a lot of wools and different threads and DMCs and stuff, and it was really fun to do that. Okay, so let's get back. I saw this in another Jessie Corley that I was looking at today. Maybe I can show you. I've got this, my old iPad here. It doesn't work very well. And let me just have a look here. This is probably a really long blah-de-blah video. So here, let me see if I can find it. I save images of things that inspire me. I forget to look at them most of the time. But when I remember, it's always helpful. So I saw one in this area here. Now, where is it? Let me see. I also love this one. Can you see that? That's gorgeous. I don't think that's Jessie. That's bird in hand or something like that. Is it this one? Home. This is what I want to do. Like that. You see that? It's probably a bit out of focus. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I might even do it. I won't do red because I'm not using red, but I'll use a pinky red. And then I'll use a navy blue. I think I'm going to do it fairly similar to that. So I'm going to use, I love this one. I bought this at the Happening store. It's very textured. It probably would be a nightmare to, I think, embroider with, but I'm sure it'll be fine to couch with. So I'll need to use my threader for that one. And I probably, how long is this video? 46 minutes. Oh my God, and you haven't seen much at all, have you? So anyway, I'll start it and then I'll probably stop. Oh, this is really hard to thread. Here we go, got it. Okay, so that tells you it's already a nightmare, but it's lovely and textural. I really like it. So that means I probably need to use 6 strands because this is very thick. Whatever I use will get lost otherwise. So I'll come down. I always start at my point. You could start and the point of that. Oh, you could start anywhere really, but I think it's best to start at a point. Oh, I did a little bit of stitching there as well. Oh yeah, this is really tough. But anyway, it goes through. So I've got that, and I'm going to get my pinky red. Which pinky red am I going to use? I've got another pinky red over here. I think I like this one. So when I say pinky red, you know, there are reds that are really orange. Like they've got orange, a lot of orange in them. They've got a lot of yellow, not orange, yellow. Whereas this red has, you can see it has a lot of blue in it. So it makes it more pinky, and I like that. It's my favorite type of red. So if I can untangle all of my threads, and I think I will use 4. I'm going to use 4. I mean, where do you pull out these numbers from? I don't know. Just make it up. It's just a feeling. I just feel like I want to use 4, so I use 4. 4 threads. Okay. So, dearie me. Half the video is me fumbling around with my threads. Okay, so how many is this one? This one, I don't think this is 4. Oh, yes it is. Yay. Okay. So let's see how we go. So the home, the word home is going to be couched as well, and it will, I think I'll just use the same, this as well for the, but I'll use a dark blue. So let's see how I go here. What's the time? I have to go out to dinner with my mother-in-law. Oh, we have to be there in an hour. Okay, that's okay. So I won't get any journals started today. So I mean, it's so quick. To embroider this, I think, would take much longer. And you get to use these really cool threads that might not be so pleasant to embroider with, but they're lovely to couch. And I think one of the things that I love, especially, I mean, I love textiles, but the other thing that I really love is texture. That's why I love my textiles. That's why I love my antique hemps and linens and things, because they have a lot of texture in them. And then, of course, as you probably noticed, I love flowers. It's really funny because I know I mention my sister and my mum quite a lot. They're both very, very creative, very good. But we all have a similar but different style. So my sister is, she uses very bright colours. And she's, like, if I were to try and use her bright colours, I wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't be as nice. And sometimes if she tries to use I'm kind of in the middle between Mum and Sarah, because Mum likes all navies and reds, or she likes really pastels. She's really good at doing pastels. And I'm kind of in between the two of them. But it's interesting because we're all influenced by each other and we all admire each other, but we do our own thing. So so for me, I think I'm doing this pretty bright, whereas if you see Sarah's, hers is really bright. I always think I'm being bright, and then I see Sarah and I realise I'm not that bright. So this, I like this. Let's see how this goes. We'll do a few more minutes and then I'll let you all go, and I can come back again tomorrow or the next day. Oh, actually our friend's coming from Modena. He might think I have another person thinking I'm a lunatic talking to myself to my iPad. Don't know if I'll video while he's here, although they'll go off to the beach and I don't want to go and swim in the icky beach here. It's nothing like our Aussie beaches. It's kind of gross. So let them go and have their Italian swim. Okay. Mind you, I shouldn't complain. It's still nice to live not far from the beach. If I lived in Florence, when I did live in Florence with my cousin, we missed the beach, and we would have taken any beach. Even though, like, I'm not really I don't sunbake or anything. I just like to, when it's hot, I like to go to the beach and like go down to Bondi or something and have a swim, and then have a walk, and then a swim, and then come home. I don't like hanging out at the beach too much. So here, we've come to the point here. So I just put my stitch in there, and then I'll just hold my thread up that I'm couching on, and then I'll put in a stitch to hold it in place so I can change directions. Oh my goodness, and I've just remembered my homespun project. That's really fallen behind. I mean, everything's just fallen. Everything's just behind. I just seem to spend my whole life thinking, I've got to catch up, 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 and I never catch up. Never. I mean, seriously, I still haven't finished. All I've got to do is finish the last part of our Florence trip back in January, December, January, and with my brother. All I've got to do is the last bit at the Uffizi, and I still haven't done it. I have to make a list and just slowly work through it. One lady on the Homespun Facebook group said to me, just do half an hour a day and you'll get through it. And I'm like, I know, but I think it would take me longer than half an hour a day. Like, you know, do my sister's part of the project. I didn't do that part, so I have to work it out as well. You know, I do all the applique and the embroidery, and she did all of the complex blocks, and so I have to work that out. Probably take me half an hour just to figure out what I have to do, and then my half hour will be up until the next day. But it is a good idea. I think I will have to, once I feel a bit better about my organisation for all these craft fairs in September. And the reason why I'm panicking about the craft fairs in September is because I think I mentioned it yesterday in the video, they are destination craft fairs. So they're not people just, you know, having their afternoon walk. They're people, you know, people going there wanting to buy things. So I'm just in a bit of a, I don't know how much stuff I need. Anyway, and I don't want to, you know, get down to the last minute like I normally do and then not feel satisfied that I thought about it properly. And you know, I need to have printed patterns in Italian, and I'm making kits and all kinds of stuff. So there's so much to be done. So I think I'm going to get all my making done in these next 2 weeks, and then I have 3 weeks to then I'll translate my patterns. I mean, I wanted to do some new patterns, so I have to write those, and I don't know, I just seem to run out of time. Anyway, I'm running out of thread now, time and thread. Okay, I'm going to end that off because that one keeps annoying me. And how many minutes has this been? 55 minutes, guys. This is really long. Sorry. Anyway, well, I can say sorry, but you can always fast forward or click on to the next video, for somebody else's video, if it's too long for you. So I'm going to end this off down here. Put it through there. Oh, it's tough. Lucky I've got my fancy smancy thimble on. And I search high and low. I bought the first ones from Yoko Saito in Florence when I did the course with her, and then they became really old, and I used them a lot, and they broke, and then I couldn't find them. I bought another lot from Daiso in Sydney, and they're hopeless. And then I went to the little quilt shop in Berrima, and they had them, so I was really excited. So if you see them, I recommend you buy them because they are fantastic. Right. So let's just finish that bit off, and then I'm going to let you go. Well, you can even go now if you want to, because you kind of know what's going to happen. So here we go. Finish that off, and then that's it for the pinky red. And I put one, see, I didn't quite join them because this is so thick. I didn't want to hit the knot because I knew I wouldn't be able to get it through. So I'm just going to put a stitch there. There we go. That kind of makes the connection. So that's how I couch. I don't know if that's the perfect way that you're supposed to couch, but I mean, I really do just, I haven't done had any lessons, so I just make it up. But I think that's the way you do it. Okay, so guys, I'll just show you that, and then I can tidy up my threads after. Why am I wasting time doing that now? I will do the lettering with you guys so that you can see how I do that. Very similar procedure, but I really like that. That looks really good. That's really great. And here I have to do my cantha stitching in there, and I think I'm thinking I might use or the pinky red or a navy blue, just to get a little bit more, because this I did with the linen and you can hardly see it, and then I did a bit here with a variegated one, but it's very pale and you can hardly see it. So I think I need some more bold, standing out sort of things happening, and I'm thinking I might do some whip stitching around that one there, and that is it for now. So I'll wait for that. I'll do the cantha stitching there sometime, don't know when. Got to do my greenery there, and I've got to embroider that as well, and then I won't know what I've got to do next. Oh, I've got to do all the borders as well. That'll make it. Maybe I'll do that next after those things, because then because that'll totally change the look, and maybe I'll then it will help me decide what to do next. Okay, I'm just babbling, so I think I'll go now, and thank you for watching, and I'm sorry it's such a long video, and have a great Sunday. Bye.